My name is Coach Mike. People call me Mike, Coach Mike, whatever you want. I believe we all have a higher coach in us. Sometimes we can't tap into it unless sometimes we hit dark moments, then we tap into it. That's when we look for stuff, and that's where we generally find stuff. Good times, they don't really serve many people. We think they do. We aim for good times, but where's the growth? Where's the change in good times, right? It's when there's times hit you with a little trial and tribulation is when you learn and grow. So we got to kind of look at this world a little different because it's almost like an upside down place. The things that were so tough for you, actually, look at the skills you developed. Look at the strength you got. Anybody here resilient? Who would say they're resilient? Only comes through having challenges. And resilient, you wouldn't take it away, right? Now let's look at good times. What does that bring you? Sometimes we're ungrateful. I would say stop and pause. You're all in dreams right now you once had. What if I didn't ask that question? Would you be thinking that one day things are going to come for me? But if you look at the formula, you believed in something, you didn't know what you were doing, you did what you thought you needed to do, and what happened? You're living in a lot of these things. But if you don't dream, you're still getting it, but it's random. So I'm going to share you how to tap into something real amazing that everyone has access to. But unfortunately, a lot of people aren't tapping into it because they're not stopping and pausing and looking back. So I'm going to talk about my story, but I'm also going to talk about the pains in my story because I had some brutal things happen year after year after year, but I'm still the happiest guy everyone knows because I know that things don't happen to you, they happen for you. But if you're not strapped with that knowledge, you could look at the something that happened to build you and think it's there to destroy you. So we're going to share that stuff. But my goal here is for everyone to leave not inspired, not motivated, transformed. Because if I'm going to share information here and you're not going to take it with you, this is useless. If you come to class and you pick up information, you don't apply it, it's absolutely useless. So sometimes we have to understand the great aim of knowledge isn't the knowledge, it's the application. And I sacrificed my life to be up here. I have no girlfriend. I have just my 2 kids. I can't do with a girlfriend because I got to deliver this program. I want to be the #1 Canadian speaker in Canada on mindset, and it's all for the youth because you need perspective. So we're going to dive in. So who knows what a GOAT is in the sports, I guess, when you're looking at sports? What's a GOAT? What does it stand for?
Greatest of all time.
Greatest of all time. Name some GOATs.
Tiger Woods.
Yep, Tiger Woods, Braun. Anyone else? Tom Brady. Okay, so what do these GOATs have in common, do you feel?
They're very good at what they do.
They're very good at what they do. Now, were they born GOATs, do you think? What does that mean? They developed it. What if I told you everybody here is a GOAT? Now, doesn't matter what I think. Unfortunately, it's what you think. Because we don't see the world how it is, we see how we are. You're all GOATs. By the end of this discussion today, you're going to know you have GOATs because what are GOATs? It's a series of actions. It's a series of beliefs. Who do you think you are? Because that's going to determine what you do. So further ado, we're going to dive in. GOAT, I use the word GOAT because people could resonate, they could reflect, they could understand what the word GOAT means because we know GOATs, but I'm going to change it. These words stand for something in this project. They stand for, you got to get to know who you are. Because at the end of the day, everything we do stems from who we believe we are. I was born downtown Winnipeg, immigrant parents, financial hardships. Imagine I labeled myself, that's who I was. I can't do nothing from there. So a lot of us, where we came into this world and how we came into this world and what we're facing, we feel like this is who we are. That ain't who you are. That's what you were born to build, but you are who you decide to be through your actions. A person with a goal and a dream, nothing on the planet could stop you. Nothing. Look at your life. When you set a destination, you put in the discipline, tell me what stopped you. You have trial and tribulations to build you. If you quit, that's when you stop. But if you don't quit, you're going to get to the destination. And I'm living proof, and a lot of us is living proof. So I'm going to talk about that because I want you guys to tap into this. And I'm telling you right now, most adults, probably 95% of them, they don't know this stuff because they're not looking back. So this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. There's no skips to success in life. You put in the reps, you get it done. And when you start, don't even look about confidence. It's courage before confidence. Confidence is the receipt after courage always, even for me. So get to know yourself. Number 2, own a goal. Everybody here is getting their goal. I'll tell you that right now. And we'll talk about that later. And we'll get back to that, but you see what I mean. You have to have a goal, but a goal is not good enough. You have to have a why. If you have a strong enough why, you'll weather any storm. Some of us we have goals, but they're not backed by anything that is purposeful, so we just skip days. We skip days. But when you have a goal that's so locked in, you do like what I'm doing right now, where I have a business that pays me well and where my time needs to be, but I spend time here because my purpose is for the youth. It is to share you guys this message. And I'll do that till the death of my grave because I found that purpose. And when you find your purpose, you do things in your life that you otherwise wouldn't do so you could show up for this kind of situation. So let's dive into this stuff. Act. Now, this is the one where most people fail. Because it doesn't matter how ideas you have, it doesn't matter how great positivity you are, it doesn't matter where your family's from, nothing matters if you don't take action. Do you know that includes me? When you have a goal without action, do you know that's just a wish? And look at our lives. Look at some of the things in our life that we're letting linger. And we're looking for, hey, where's my time going to come? But we have hands and feet and heartbeat and we're not working on these things. It's a wish. But guess what? A goal with action is your future. And you could create your future. When you plant a seed for an apple tree, what's the last thing to come off the tree? When you plant a seed for an apple tree, what's the last thing you're going to take off the tree? Trust the process, right? Trust the process. Sometimes we're waiting for the apple tomorrow, man. We got to build ourselves. Because I always say, don't always have a financial goal, but I always say to anybody who doesn't have a goal, make your goal to be $1 million. You know why? Because of the character you develop to be that person. When you get that million, give it away. Because it ain't about the money, it's about the character. And some of us are looking to go to these places without building the character. So we're going to talk about this stuff because it's all beautiful stuff. And like I said, trusting the process. Because at the end of the day, when I came out of the womb, I didn't do the moonwalk the first day. I'm sure Jackson didn't either. I'm sure Kobe Bryant wasn't doing layups right out of the womb. So we're going to dive into this stuff. But again, I'm here. After I leave these sessions, I almost drop tears because this is I'm living a dream I once had. So let's dive in. I want you to understand that this is about active learning. This ain't about me. I'm sacrificing here. I'm not looking for likes. I'm not looking for Instagram likes. I'm just looking for you guys to feel something after you leave here. And if you feel like there's something in your gut that's telling you some discomfort, that's when change begins, because change isn't a comfortable process. And look in your life, it's only discomfort that got you where you needed to be. Take responsibility for the results. What I'm going to share here ain't about me again. It's about what you could take from this. If you're unsure, ask for clarity. There's going to be questions after. If you want to stick your hand up in the middle of me talking, do so, because it ain't about me. Okay? Ask repeatedly, how can I make this work? We all come from different areas of life. Right? This is not a cookie cutter approach. It's you look at it and you see what I'm saying and you see how you could reflect and you look for change in your life. So again, it's up to you to do that. I'm not going to tell you nothing what to do. I'm going to share stuff and you'll see. Stay positive and open to ideas. You know, that's huge. That's huge because guess what? If I was negative Larry and you told me to look outside, you know what I'm going to say? Oh, look at the snow. It's so cold. When is it going to be summer? But if I'm positive Pete, I look out. Oh, wow, look at it. It's shining so nice. Let's run outside. Let's enjoy the breeze. So how you see things is going to depend because what you see in front of you isn't the reality. It's what you call it. It's the labels you give it. Someone sees a problem, someone sees an opportunity. But I'll tell you, life don't give you a problem or challenges, only opportunities. But what you see is what it becomes. So be careful. Be careful what you call things. And I'm going to give you some stuff to really consider to just see how we sometimes create our own scenarios unknowingly. And the great aim of this stuff is not the information I share. It's going to be the action. Okay, get to know yourself. This is where we're going to start. Who knows what a self-concept is? What it means? What is self-concept? Well, if someone says, what's your self-concept? Well, self-concept is who you think you are because it shapes who you become. So the question is, who do you think you are? And the follow-up question is, where did that come from? Where did that identity come from? Is it from where you were born? Is it from what the parents expect, teachers expect? Or is it what you're made of? Everybody here is remarkable beyond measure, period. If you don't think so, hopefully by the end of the slide you will. Because who you think you are is going to determine everything you do, and that's why I talk about this slide first. So the question is, who do you see when you look in the mirror? And the beautiful thing is, if you look in the mirror and it's not the person you want to see, guess what? You could create that person. I did. We could all do it. So I'm going to teach you how to do that because it's very simple steps. Now, a self-concept is how you see yourself. It shapes your actions, your confidence, and what you believe is possible. If I associated with being downtown Winnipeg immigrant parents, I wouldn't be here today. So we got to be careful of that because people around us won't tell you who they are. Actually, they'll try to define you. That's not who you are. So you got to know that, and you got to be the one to know that because no one's going to share that with you. That's an inside job. So why is your self-concept important? Because everything you do stems from there. It's like an algorithm. Whatever you search on Instagram, someone looks at your shirts, they'll see what you're about. Whatever you focus on in life, you focus on problems, you're going to see problems. You focus on opportunities, you're going to see opportunities. So this is not about me telling you what to do. It's about me letting you know where the clues are because when you label things, it allows you to say, hey, why did I choose that route? Right? So it's not about me. I'm just giving you the insight so you can strap yourself. So I want to tell you my story because I didn't come from no fame. I come from rags. Now, when I say rags, look, people had it worse than me. So no matter how bad you think you have it, someone has it worse. If everybody in here took their problems, because we all have a little things to deal with in life, right? Right? So if everyone here took those things, and everybody in the planet took those things, and we put them all in the center of the world, and then everybody here went to grab equal share, so everyone in the world got equal, we'll have way more than we came in to. Look, be grateful for what you got. You don't want to know what other people have it, right? And it's not about that. It's about what you could tap in. So let me talk about this. 1994 to 2004. So I was born in Calgary, Alberta, came to Winnipeg when I was 2 years old with the parents, immigrant parents, Jamaican Guyana. Financial hardships like you wouldn't believe. The odds were straight stacked against me as soon as you're downtown. Look, I'm thinking drugs, no drugs. Shoplifting, no shoplifting. These aren't decisions kids should be making, man. But when you really tap it down to it, making the decisions, having some issues happen, it's what you learn from those issues that get you. So someone who has adversity, there's a bigger chance of them to be grateful and grow out of it. And we're sometimes scared of making mistakes. Guess what? Someone who makes no mistakes makes nothing. You don't even hear them talk, nothing. Wisdom comes at a price. So immigrant parents, financial hardships. Now, what did I do in that area? I just dreamed. I just said, hey, let me finish school. Let me try to avoid getting in gangs. That's all I was. So that was still a goal. So whenever something would present me, I'd move away from it. Okay. So what happened from that 1994 to 2004? I ended up going to university. Look, I'm the only one in my family. I'm the only one out of a group of friends I know who went to university. It's not that university is important, but it's just that I set a goal and I finished it, despite the environment. And that's what I want you to understand. Your environment ain't the key. It's what you do with that environment. So 1994 to 2000, after I finished university, couldn't find a job, ended up at Winnipeg Honda at a dealership where I met Dave. Actually, before that, I was at a Mazda dealership, but we were in the same group, the Lari group. And I ended up at Winnipeg Honda. Now, the idea is I graduated from university. I couldn't find a job. No one would hire me. They don't care about me. So I had to start somewhere. And I thought, oh, I'm going to stop here, temporary stop in the auto business. And as I went through, I realized I developed myself. I became the #1 finance manager for Honda Canada. If I were to just think about that before I did it, I wouldn't. I just thought I wanted greatness. So as I took steps with courage, it leads you to the right places. So just dream, you'll be delivered it. So long story short, I had a successful career. I was married, 17 years relationship, 3 brothers, 2 sisters. I was doing good. 2019, I said, I want to be the #1 Canadian speaker on mindset. I didn't know why. I didn't know where it came from. I didn't have a damn clue. But sometimes you're going to feel something. Nobody could validate. You just feel something pulling you, right? Follow that feeling. It's planted in you. It's going to seem weird because no one's going to validate it. So anyways, I said I wanted to be #1 kid. I didn't even know where it came from. I wrote it down. It was insane. I'd never spoken in front of somebody. And I said to myself, oh man, like who's going to trust me? Like I think I know what I'm talking about, but people won't think that I could relate to them. Oh boy, the things change. Be careful what you wish for. It will come true. If you put some idea out there in the universe, something's going to shake in your environment. One day you're going to wake up in it. Now, guess what? 2019, let's talk about that. 2019, I lost my job of 17 years. I was making $400K. Let's just be out there just to show you what you could drop from. $400K to 0. Overnight. It was the same day, overnight. I found out that day, gone. 2020, came home one day. Wife said, hey, I don't think this is going to work. I'm like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Long story short, relationship done. Cold turkey. I was too busy working, thinking I'm building a family. I wasn't communicating. Done. Now, you think that's done, right? The man could only handle so much. 2021, my brother died. Drug overdose. Straight up. My young brother. Okay? So could you agree that's pain? Back to back to back to back? Well, guess what? 19, after I lost a job, even in that pain, I created this program, training program. A company hired me. And I'm back to like, not quite the same amount of money, but a good amount of money. 2022, got a phone call, done. 19, 20, 21, 22. You think someone should be broken? Nobody who knew me saw me broken, because things don't happen to you, they happen for you. We always think we have this greatness in front of us. Something out there wants more for you. And if you don't go get it, you're going to see the shakeups. And if you look at the shakeups in your life, they shook you to where you are today. Would you want to go back before the shakeup? I don't think so. But we don't volunteer, so something out there is looking for you. So I want to share that because, look, it sounds brutal, right? Because I want to show you, yes, brutal things happen, but how you see it changes your life. It changed my life. So what does this mean? I'm going to talk about this in the goal section, but you're going to see what I turn these things into. Because that's what your job is to do, turn pain into purpose. Every time I post, I put can't stop, won't stop. Because as long as you keep moving, nothing could stop you, could only build you. Does what I say make sense? You guys hear what I'm saying? Could you relate to some of this stuff in your life? How hardships built you? Is that something that it sounds foreign to you, or it makes sense? And that's what we want to remember, because when you look backwards, it leaves clue, but looking forward, it doesn't leave the same. So what did I learn at this time? Where you begin does not define where you end. Okay? Struggles, they can make or break you. Who do you think decides that? Right? Even in the dark seasons, small steps matter. For some of us, we're in places that our mind, we can't function. Small steps matter. They build up, they compound. And setbacks, they could plant seeds for breakthroughs. They often do. Without a setback, there's almost nothing for us because we play it safe. And your past chapter has nothing to do with the future. It's like stocks. Yesterday's price doesn't have nothing to do with tomorrow's price. It's what you do with it. So again, this is the melting pot for you to start reflecting and starting finding and fight for what you want. And that's what this story is about. So the thinking, actions, and procedures that got you where you are today is not fit to get you where you want to go tomorrow. Somebody tell me, what does that mean? What does that statement mean? The thinking of yesterday is not going to get you where you want to go tomorrow. Let me reframe that in a way that we can all sit on. Okay? What you're doing today, if you keep doing that, there is no tomorrow. You got to evolve, right? Who likes change? Is change so comfortable? Yeah, change is tough. Guess what? It's your only way out, though. What else is the way? And if you don't do it, something out there is going to force it on you, because change is it. So what does this mean? Change. You have to embrace change. Everything's changing. Look at the iPhones. I got an iPhone 17. It was iPhone 1, iPhone 2, iPhone 17. That hardware, isn't it sweet? Look at that. Look how that moves. Look at that physical device. So look at us. We were 2 years old, 3 years old. You're not 2. Physically, I could tell you changed. So just like that iPhone changed, that's an iPhone 17. It's an iPhone 17 hardware. Imagine I had this iPhone 17 hardware operating off iPhone 1 software. Some of us grew physically, but we're holding on to the past. You can't hold on to both. So change opens doors for your future. We can't have the same. The same's not giving us nothing. But I'm going to reframe a lot of things, because change is scary. But when I reframe it, you're going to see change is not scary at all. Transformative power. Old cycles. There's times where, honestly, I'm not perfect, man. I wasn't doing the right thing a lot of times. Okay? There's a lot of times when I look at my life, I was like in shame because I couldn't do this. Well, guess what? Things happen. It changed me, gave me focus. Change allows you to break old cycles. Some of the things we're doing today is not going to get us to our destination. Think of the person you want to be in the destination, right? And think of what you're doing today. A lot of us isn't even building to get there. So it's impossible. But imagine you look and embody that person. It changes, so change allows you to do that. There's a transformative power. And one thing is confidence. Courage is always before confidence, no matter what, no matter what. For me to start speaking, I had to sweat first, dripping. I'm telling you, it was so uncomfortable. But because my purpose is so huge, I didn't care. I'm like, let them laugh at me. But now, because I got the reps in, you think I'm a seasoned person because I had to do the reps. The reps doesn't show up. Things don't show up unless you do the reps. So I'm not immune to the reps. So navigating the unknown. So growth is outside of your comfort zone. Let's talk about this for a sec. Comfort zone is the place we're in right now. It feels comfortable, even if we have hardships and we don't like certain things, because it feels more comfortable what you know than what you don't know. Doesn't that make sense? So the things out there, it's scarier than what I know. I'd rather bask in this peace that I'm in right now because I don't want to go out there. That's really scary. So we get this stuckness. Now, comfort zone, we call it. How comfortable is it being the same, guys? How comfortable? Who wants to be the same forever? It's not comfortable. Now, let's talk about this unknown. And I want you to reflect on here. Every single time you jumped into the unknown and you had courage first, didn't it lead you to all the hope, the desire, the change you needed? It actually was comfortable because you're doing stuff and using your skills and seeing yourself grow. We got fooled. The comfort zone is the uncomfortable zone. Because when you're comfort, you get complacent, you get scared. But whenever you move in that uncomfort, that's where everything is. So if you want a life worth living, go into the uncomfortable zone. You'll find that that's where most people won't go. And that's where you're going to see the success, because it ain't brains. Because here's where I'm getting at. We're 1 out of 8 billion people on this planet. Everybody on the planet has multiple ideas and thoughts. Okay? We are, on our other hand, we only have one life. And if you looked at our own life, there are things that happen that gives us a certain stain. But if you look at those things, they built the character in you. They're necessary. But it makes us think world is harsh. So imagine our lens looking out. All we're seeing is harshness. That's not how it is. That was to build us. So often when we dive into things like fear, the idea of fear, think of it like this. 1 out of 8 billion people, everybody has multiple thoughts and ideas, okay? When we dive into this idea of fear, we chose 1 out of trillions of ideas. Everyone has multiple thoughts. We chose one pathway. Now check this out. I would say no problem, but if you look back in your life, none of your worst case scenarios really came true. All these fears you had, if you eliminated them, guess what? You'll still be right here. You know you could eliminate them? They're not real. They're lies. They're absolutely lies. They lied to you in the past. Look back in the past. Your worst nightmares, did they show up? But every time we always have them. You learn that, no, this is where you want to be, because it allows you to see that these things are happening. It allows you to get your power back, because our power, we have it, but we're using it to slow us down. And why does change matter? Well, it's the only fuel for growth. Even if you're Coach Mike, I have a very successful business. I don't want that comfort. I throw myself in discomfort and doing this. So I want you to make sure that, because at the end of the day, change is inevitable. Suffering is optional. And sometimes we don't know it's our choice. So let's move on. How many of us been through struggles in our life at any point? I think we all have, right? I think it's safe to say. So a lot of times our struggles is what kind of gives us the stain in life. So I want to show you this. Like, how much is this worth? $20. Okay. Now, I want to do something here. I don't want to ruin money, guys, but this for example sake purposes, okay? Okay, I want to open this. How much is this worth? Serious? Okay, can someone step on this, please? Just one step. Hey, we're not trying. Look, no one record this, please. Just step on that quick. Okay, good, perfect. How much is it worth? Your value does not change. Circumstance doesn't change you. You fall, you don't win. You lost the team, it doesn't change you. Your value is still there. It doesn't change. Since you volunteered, boss, get yourself some chips. Get yourself some potato chips. Maybe we'll have more volunteers next time. Don't rush. So what am I saying, though? Your value doesn't change, though. We let circumstance that are determined to build us label us. No, your value never changes. And when you think of diamonds, I love my diamonds. I love my ice. Guess what? Pressure. Pressure to make diamonds. We love diamonds. Pressure. Okay? Growth. A skillful captain. A skillful captain wasn't made in calm waters. Imagine a plane. A brand new plane doesn't fly. That's not what they're made for. You are not made to be the same. A ship at port is safe. You're made to go out there, not sit at the harbor. Dirt washes off. Failure is not forever. So this is important. But let's dive into some of the mindset stuff, because it's all mindset, right? No matter what I share, it's hard to relate unless you kind of dive in and peel back the onion. So we're going to peel back the onion a little bit, because we're wired like this. Guess what? When you were a baby, you were pure. We got programmed, and now we have these beliefs that we think is true. But as an adult and as you're growing up, whose responsibility is to unwind that? Society ain't gonna do it, but you can. And I'm gonna show you some concepts that can help you do that. There's a noisy roommate in your brain right now, and it's your thoughts. They're not real, they're ideas. I'll give you an example. If I went to the Keg or any restaurant and I see someone with a plate of food there, I love their food, I'm like, I wish I could eat it. I wouldn't go and grab that dish and eat it. I'd keep it in my mind, right? So thoughts are like that. They're like clouds. Our body, we've been programmed through a certain things in our life. And when something happens, those thoughts pop up. Look at the ones we're grabbing. They're really just clouds flying by, but we're grabbing and we're holding on to some. We're leaving some. Someone says we're remarkable. We're not taking that one. But something we love about pain, we're grabbing them. You know, they're not even real. They're ideas, they're thoughts. They're trying to get your body to cool out. Here's proof. Before you do something, you'll be saying to yourself, I think I should do that. The other side, no, maybe not. There's this discussion. I can say to you right now, scream in your inside voice. You just scream, but you know who you are? There's a higher person that hears these voices. You hear the talk. You could discern which is it. So when we're on autopilot, we just grab it. Well, when you're thinking, you're like, that ain't for me. You could make that decision. There's a higher coach. So you got to understand that your thoughts, they don't define you. They're stuff. You grab what you want to grab, but you also create what you want to create. So the beautiful thing about our structure of a brain, it's so amazing that you get what you give. Now, let me give you an example. Say I went to the park, my favorite park. I went on the path. When I go to that park, it's easy to walk the path because it was etched out for years. There's like, you could see it in the ground. It's just step. You don't have to think. You can walk and talk, right? Our life, our brains, there's something called neuroplasticity. What does it mean? Our brains are hardwired for the things we do on repeat. So when you first started brushing your teeth, as much as you think it's easy, it wasn't, but once you got a groove, you don't even think about it. You wake up and you do stuff on autopilot. That's because every time that thought comes up, it etches these pathways and they get stronger and stronger over time. Now, if I was at that park and I wanted to make a new path, I got to walk through grass for a minute, right? And then eventually there'll be a path. Your brain, when you change your thinking, you rewire, you create those new wires. What does this mean? 21 days to 90 days, you're a new brain. But it depends what you focus on. This is real talk. Because some of us, we're not doing stuff that we used to be, and we're on autopilot with other stuff. So what does this mean? You got to recognize the thoughts that's not serving you, change them. And every time remind yourself, and you'll find out one day that you're not even thinking about positivity. I can't even see non-positivity. Like, it's almost, I got to stop to relate to folks because I see everything has an opportunity seed. But I program myself that you can do that. So what does this mean? You have control. Your brain can grow, okay? Now, how do you program? What's the formula? Simple. It's very simple. Do you notice that everything I'll ask you questions and I'll ask you things, you already have the answers inside? But if you don't ask the question, you don't bring it up. Just you acknowledging it loses its power. When you have a negative thought, say to yourself, what is this? Where did this come from? Watch how it loses steam. You all know math, right? When you give the teacher the answer to the math problem, you didn't show the work. Does the teacher want to see the answer or the work? They want to see the work you did to get the answer, right? For the most part. So when in life, when you have a negative thought that doesn't serve you, produce the work of where it came from. You have to make things up to make it happen. That's how you know it's fake. You have to make things up. You can't even bring the work. So when you think about it, negativity, it's a choice. So what does that mean? You can still feel this stuff, but move forward and you'll get your destiny. And last, your brain, the idea is the change of your brain is real and the proof is in the pudding. You're not the same as you were years ago. So change is real and we got to tap into it. But there's an invisible force that's creeping up at us. We go to do a presentation. Guess what? We feel this thing. I'm not good enough. Ooh, it creeps up only when you're football team, soccer team, you were ready to be a starter, first practice. Ooh, that's not, I don't know if am I cut for this? I call them gales. They creep up. Gremlins, nasty critter that shows up. I'm not good enough. I'm never successful. Guess where it came from? A lot of it when we were younger. Say I did a math equation when I was 4 years old. 1 + 1 is 7. Teacher's like, Freddie? No, that's not right. Try again. So you try again. 1 + 1 is 7. And you got it wrong again. The teacher's like, no, you got it wrong, Freddie. Math isn't for you. All of a sudden, we're 19, 20, 21. Someone offers us a job at a local Sobeys, and we say, I don't do math. A lot of the stuff we carry right now, we're stained from the past. They're not relevant. You got to ask yourself, who told me this to be true? And why is it real today? Once you label, you realize, no. I'm telling my story. That's not true. You're anyone you could, anything before you do it, you question it. But whenever you do it, you realize you could do it. You could do anything. So you're not labels. So you got to ask yourself, assumptions. I failed before, I'm going to fail again. People like me don't make it. If you say that, you're casting a spell, because you got to ask yourself again, does your past really decide your future? Or what you decide today? Like, does it really? Or does it tell you what didn't work, and is it just information? Interpretations. We look and we judge people. We look across, oh, look at this person. It's the story we tell ourselves. They didn't pick me, so I'm not good enough. This means I can't win. Remember I said we're 1 out of 8 billion? There's trillions of thoughts. What's another way of looking at this? Why are we choosing the one that doesn't serve us? What's another way? There's millions, especially if you look back in your life, our worst case didn't happen. So we got to consider that, right? And limiting beliefs. Anything we believe to be true, that limits us. I'm not meant for more. I can't succeed from where I'm at. Look, when I was a finance manager in the auto industry, I said, what business do I have up here in front of people? I'm not a speaker. No, of course I'm not. You're whatever you apply yourself. So if you start doing the reps, guess what? You're a speaker. If you do this, you're this. So ask yourself again, the belief that you have, is it taking you where you want to go, or is it holding you back? And it will give you clues. It will give you some solid clues. Okay, so what do you do when this stuff creeps in? Because I'm not here to just tell you about this stuff that's going to creep in and you're not strapped to deal with it. You're going to be strapped. When this stuff creeps in, you got to have hope. You got to have hope. You got to have hope. What does hope stand for? The honest truth. Face the lie. When that voice says I'm not good enough, say, look, the truth is I'm growing. I'm capable and I'm growing. You don't ride a bike for the first time and do papa wheelies, right? When opportunity mindset, right? Instead of that assumptions, opportunity. Your past does not decide your future. The question is, what can I do to help me grow right now? Okay? Hope, P, perspective. Sometimes we're looking at it from that 1 out of trillion lens. Choose another line. Choose another thing that supports you. And last but not least is empowering beliefs. When I can't come through, I can learn. You want to replace it with. And you realize that you create your own future. Because your future right now you're creating whether you know it or not. But I'm going to try to share you how to take control of it, because if you let it be on autopilot, it ain't taking you where you want to go, because we've been programmed through life. So it's not going to take you. You have to interject. And that's why challenges hit you, because they make you start thinking deep and focusing and then making redirection. It's scary, yeah, but honestly, nothing worthwhile is easy. So we got to consider that. Okay? So this is a major slide because a lot of us are caught up in this windstorm, and it's called drifting. You don't even know you're in it. What's drifting? It's you're living without a clear direction. It's like scrolling through Instagram all day. No posts making. You leave, nothing happened. But you saw a lot of images, so you feel a certain way. And if you don't move, you're going to be trapped in that cycle. That's called drifting. You got to pick a goal, you got to focus on it, and you're going to find that you're not going to be drifting. So let's talk about drifting, because there's a drift trap. And good people get stuck in this drift trap if you don't have a goal. I tell you that right now, I know a lot of them. So what's drifting? Unsure of what you want. They let others decide for them. They waste time, procrastinate, get distracted easy, complain, controlled by fear, hang around negative people, self-control. They just move. They let their emotions control them. Ew, that's going to create a hard life. You're going to have a lot of friction. If you think you're right, you could think you're right, but you're going to have a lot of friction. Now look at the drivers, the non-drifters. They know what they want. They make their decisions with confidence. They use their time wisely. They focus on their goals, the positive outlook. They feel the fear. I feel fear, but I move through it. I move through it. It can't stop, no stop. It ain't going to stop me. Life is a daring adventure. One day you're going to be on your deathbed, and you're going to look back, and you're going to say, what kind of life I lived? Look, then you got nothing to lose. You got nothing to lose. You got nothing to lose. So we're going to go on to the next one. It's about owning a goal. Now, I want to give you guys a scenario. Who has goals, first of all? Okay, cool. And whoever's hand's not up, everybody got a goal. You're going to know after I say this. Okay. Now, bear with me. Imagine I'm blindfolded, okay? They brought me to the airport. I won this lottery. And they brought me to the airport and they say, hey, Mike, you could go on any plane you want, any destination you want, but you just got to feel around to the gates. And you're not going to see where it's going, but you just got to feel and go into the door. Where it lands is where you go. Okay. So if I did that and I get into a plane and I land, where would I land? Where would I land? Hawaii? No, that's random place, right? I land in a random place. If we went to Winnipeg Airport and you jump on a random place, you ain't gonna get no Hawaii. You gotta buy a ticket so you get connecting flights. You're probably gonna end up in the same place you are or worse. No Hollywood if you don't buy tickets because they have to connect, right? So, but what if I bought a ticket to Hawaii and went to the airport and I gave the agent the ticket? Where would I end up? Chicago? Hawaii, right? So when people look in their life, and when we look in our life and we say, what's going on? What's going on with my life? Ask yourself a question, where are you going? And if you don't have an answer, your life is still designed to spec. You're getting random. Random. So you're getting it. The life, just the world delivers, you know. If you don't choose, you get it. Now, look at the times where you actually chose goals and you actually dialed into them and you did the work. What happened? Didn't they flourish? The grass is greener where you water it. The grass is not greener on the other side. So the goal is, answer this internally. Where are you going? What's your goal? And what are you doing to pursue it? And it will give you exact clues. So it doesn't matter how positive you are. It doesn't matter how cool you are. It matters what you plant. So that's goal setting for you. Let's dive in. Okay. So your goal is basically your boarding pass to your future, right? And you got to know what's your biggest goal and why it matters, because if you don't know why it matters, it's not going to help. So the question is, do you have goals and are you pursuing them? Don't answer me. Ask yourself, because if you don't, here's the beauty of it. It's not to condemn you. If you don't have an answer, guess what? That is your key right there. It's an opportunity. Imagine you didn't know if there's something for you and then you hear that statement. It tells you, okay, that's my key. So if I did that, that's my key. That is your key. So what's goal setting? You have to set clear goals. You have to give your life direction and purpose. You got to tell your mind where it's going, and it will go. Because I'll say this again, pause. Everybody think about this. You're in dreams you once had. You didn't know how to get there. They weren't your plan. Because you just did what you needed to do, all of a sudden you wake up, you're in it. You don't even know you're in it. That's how beautiful life is. It will deliver that sick. But if you look at your plan, it's never going to be as good as what delivers. So the plan that delivers is going to shake you up quickly so you could, all of a sudden you're there. But our plan is this plan, oh, I'm going to do this, do this, do this. No. So if you just do the best with what you have, you're waking up in dreams you once had. Again, I could be in tears for that because I know that's true and that's what keeps you going. There's a snowball effect when you keep doing that. So why is a goal important? Because at the end of the day, what you do today is going to shape your future. So seed by seed. So Martin Luther King, I did a Black History Month thing yesterday, and Martin Luther King really stuck out to me because when I really think about it, you saw my situation that I grew up in, all I had was dreams. Because where you're from, you can't even see it being a reality. You think it's a dream, but you still do a little action. You have to have effort. And I realized that I got it, and I realized, no, it's not about being smart. I'm telling you guys right now, you're not going to see smart people go to places. It's the people who take action. Because no matter how smart you are, it's the action, and you'll bump your way to success just by moving. But you can't define yourself as anything other than everything you touch and you put forward, you'll see that you were able to accomplish, and that's not going to change. That's not going to change. But you also probably won't hear that outside of this room. Because I lived this life. A lot of people haven't done the work. You're probably not going to hear this message again. So just remember that. I'm telling you, because you have to do the work to share it, right? You'll hear it in different ways, but I came from a lot of pain, so I hit it a little different. So clear goals. So just remember, you have to have clear goals with a target, and you have to stay committed. Period, right? The grass is not greener on the other side. A lot of us is looking out the window at the neighbor's grass. Oh, his grass is green. Meanwhile, ours isn't getting watered. We need to look in the mirror. Start watering our grass. Success starts with goals. Every invention, your green shirt, your sign on this shirt, the design on your shirt, everything started with a goal. Everything that you see, you touch, started with a goal. Even yourself. Sometimes our goal is just to go to Sobeys and we get it. But anything you pick, it will deliver. Look, there's this natural law that if you actually set your destination, you do what you need to do, and you do consistent, it 100% will deliver to you. Doesn't matter if you're mean or not mean, it delivers. It's natural order. Don't take my word for it. Look at the time you put in the efforts, right? So goals give you direction. A strong why helps you weather the storm. Progress is one step at a time. Sometimes we're looking at the whole big kit and caboodle. When I wanted to be the #1 speaker, my goal was just reps, 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 reps. You rep your way into success. Now, guess what? Our end goal, we feel is that that's the destination. No, it's not. Because when you think of right now, the next critical step you make is as big as that one. Because if you don't do that, you can't go to the next one. It's as big. We wait for the shiny objects. No, they come after. Jordan, LeBron, all the GOATs, Brady, they came after they did the work. Years after. So put in the work, right? Put in the work. And your goals change reality into ideas. And that's your goals change your ideas into reality. So every day is either building you or breaking you. So how do you put goals in action? It's not hard. I'm going to share you a formula. It's not really tough. Give yourself a direction. All you have to do is write down a goal. Write down something you want. And I give an exercise that we're going to eventually do because it's powerful. Write down what you want. This is how simple it is, really, okay? Know your why. You have to link it to something meaningful. Let me give you an example. I'm not a workout guy, but when I made my goal, we all have a friend out there who, if you say be there at 6, they'll show up at 6:30, maybe 6:15, but they're never on time. Do we know these people? Anyone know these kind of people? Yeah. So if you tell them to be there at 7 one day, do you think they'll show up at 7? No. Guess what? A lot of people feel that way about themselves. You say you're going to do stuff tomorrow, you don't do it, you're washed out like that friend. So when I was like that, so I'm not pointing fingers. When I got this task, and I said I want to be the #1 Canadian speaker, the only thing I said to myself, I don't know if I could do it. Could I do it when I don't want to do it? I don't know. I literally started a workout routine, March 2nd, 2020. I go every second day. I haven't skipped any of my second days since then. If I couldn't do 2 in a row, my day I'd double up because I said to myself when I did my workout routine, there's days I didn't want to go. I was going to pack it in. I said, wait a minute. If you can't do what you say you're going to do for yourself, there's nothing for you. Brady's, the sports, they practice when they don't want to practice. But here's the thing. If you could do what you say you're going to do, despite how you feel, guess what? Everything on the planet, anything you want, come get it. It's yours. It's literally yours. Discipline will get you out of any situation. It will save your life. It will get you from downtown. It will get you from any situation. Because life's consistency, not intensity. But what we do sometimes, we do a 24-hour workout. All you do is be sore, and you won't go for a few days. A little bit every day, inch by inch. So you got to attach it to a why. And the power of attraction. I'm telling you right now, you attract things, you don't chase them. Look at your end goal. Look at what you're embodying today. If you're not embodying it or doing what they would do, then there's no goal for you. But the moment you embody it, you can attract it because that's who you embody. That's who you are. That's what you're fit for. So it's important to visualize your success and act it out. When I walk around, honestly, I walk around like a #1 Canadian speaker. When I'm in Costco, I feel like people should be asking me for autographs. I'm like pretending I'm low key. We can laugh at it, but I tell you the realness of it, man. You come with a level of flame. But you don't want to wait till the big show to be at the big show. Because success isn't the end goal. Success is the actions you do today. And if you do the action today, you're going to be successful. And here's how well we know it. We just don't trust in ourselves. If I had a garden and I planted a seed for a tomato, and you didn't see the tomato yet, I just planted it yesterday. And a neighbor comes at us and say, Mike, what's in there? I got tomatoes. You know it will grow, right? That's the same thing of your dreams, they'll grow. But you got to trust it because when you decide to get to this dream, guess what? You couldn't go from here to there right now. You wouldn't be capable of it, neither would I. But guess what? On the journey, it builds you to get there. And if you have a goal, a true goal, and you look at your troubles today and look at the skills you get from those troubles, they're actually the only thing that's going to allow you to get your goal. They're custom. They're custom. So we got to remember that. There's a plan. Set a destination. Let me break it down in easy terms. Set a destination. Do like you did before, just what you think you need to do, but do it consistency. And then you're going to find that, and trust the process, you're going to find that's going to grow, guaranteed. I'm in shell shock with it. That's why I'm up here today. I'm so powerful. But you got to know your brain's an algorithm. What are you feeding it? Because that's what's going to allow you to make this resonate. So if you focus on fear, guess what you're going to see? Problems. And we know those folks out there. We know those happy go. I'm one of those guys that look, people just think I'm fake. They think I'm fake because I focus on growth. I only see opportunities. My worst moments, 19, 20, 21, 22, I was almost like, look, people are like, man, do you have feelings? Yeah, I do. But this to me, love, It's taking what your pain and turning into purpose for somebody else. That's what it is. Of course, when my brother died, I cried. But then I said, what could I do? You know, my coach, Mike Brand, I did it for my brother because he died from drugs. I felt I could have saved his life. I wasn't communicating with him much. So now I say, hey, if anybody could take this message and change their life, look, I saved my brother's life. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be up here. If I didn't lose a job, I wouldn't be up here. So you kind of see what I'm saying? Focus on action. You're going to see progress. Bottom line. What you do in the dark comes to light. So your mind is the most powerful algorithm because it's a sequence. What you hear, what you watch, who you hang with, they feed you. You either negativity or growth, and then boom, that's what you see. You don't see the world how it is. You see it exactly how you are, which is beautiful because it gives you clues. Because if I see something and I call it a problem, does that mean it's a problem? Someone else sees it as an opportunity. What is it? It's what you make it. And that's the beautiful thing. Okay? So fear. Why don't we move though? Because we're scared to fail. And I understand that because I remember that. And I still, at the way I built myself right now, I know fear is a fake story. It's a fake story. If you eliminated all your worries you ever had, your life would have still turned out. So talk about putting ourselves through the gauntlet. So fail is the goal blocker. If you consider all the people that ever died on this planet are in graves, times it by 44 billion, that's how many people die of fear every day. Because they tell themselves stories. So fear, what does it stand for? Fail, what does it stand for? Fear, avoidance, insecurity, and limited beliefs. Again, I'm not good enough. You got to say to yourself, why is that true? Avoidance, I'll start tomorrow. I'll start the next day. I'm not ready. Newsflash, tomorrow you'll never see a day in your life. You know why? The past is the past. You're always in the moment right now. You wake up, you sleep, there's no real tomorrow. So if you want tomorrow, you do it today. If I want to go to Hawaii, I'm not going tomorrow. I buy the ticket today. What do you buy? What tickets are you buying today? Again, clues, right? Clues. Avoidance. Ask yourself, what could I do today to move me forward? Insecurity. Others are better than me. Look, no one's focused on you. My daughter's 10. I teach her this duck theory. When I started to speak, I had to do it myself because very nervous to be in front of crowds. You may see the confidence, but I tell you it's straight courage. But I have a duck theory. When you look at a duck on the water, what do you see? All you see is this. But under the paddle, the feet is like... When you're standing up doing anything, guess what? In your mind, you have those thoughts. Nobody could see them. They don't give a damn. They can't see them all. So pretend you're the duck. Walk cool. No one's knowing nothing wrong with you. They think you're cool and you're calm. There's a lot of times we do that. We go, we're nervous as heck. Nobody knows. But unless you want to advertise. Oh, what am I going to do? No, you just keep creating some heat. And you'll realize that. Now, I want to share you one more thing. It's very important because that started my speaking career. Somebody asked me to be their MC at a wedding, and it was last minute. It was like a week out, and I'm like, I don't know the family, I don't know stuff, but I said, hey, I gotta say yes. My job is to say yes. Look, if there's one thing you do, always show up, because you realize there's a gift of knowledge or wisdom that there. So I went, I did the wedding. Long story short, when it was done, sweat dripping down my face. My brother was in the wedding party. I looked at him and said, bro, that sucked. I felt sick, almost sick to my stomach. He's like, no, that was great, man. I'm like, kid, that's my brother. Of course, he's my hype man. As I went through the crowd, people would stop me, and literally 2 people asked me to be the MC at their wedding. And a lot of people say, bro, that was so amazing, man, because I made them laugh a lot. But I didn't see value in that. Then, after they said that, I knew it was great. Don't wait for somebody to tell you. Don't wait for somebody to tell you you're great. They can't tell you that. If I didn't hear that, I would have went doom and gloom. Do not wait. A lot of people aren't in a position to tell you who you are and what you're good at. You got to know that yourself. Don't wait for a validation. Do not wait. Because regardless, it was good, and I waited for validation, but I learned from that. I'm not going to wait. I'm going to use my voice, and that's it. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. But when you come in with that, you're not worried about that because people ain't looking at you like that. They don't care. When somebody's speaking, they mess up, you don't care. So just remember that. Insecurities, you got to break through them. And all these breakthroughs, they only come through movement. So you got to move. And then limiting beliefs, we already know about that. You got to pick the right thought. So what does this mean? When failure hits you, what do you back it with? That's why we spoke about your goal. Remember your goal. What does your goal stand for? G-O-A-L. The G, it's a guide. What does it mean? When you feel like fear, just remember, my goal gives me direction. If I keep going, I'm going to get there regardless. That will fight fear in its tracks. O is organized. Instead of avoidance, remember this. Look, big goals are one step at a time. All I have to do is little steps. Okay? Insecurity comes up. Think of it. When you feel scared for no reason that you can't even do the math for, look at this. Goals align me. My goal reflects who I am and who I want to become. It gives me strength. You can bat these stuff right as they come. Knock them out. Knock them out, Red. And then limiting beliefs. When they come, lift yourself up with some thoughts. Progress builds confidence. Confidence helps me keep going. You're a few words away. You're a few words away. Nobody's going to save you. No one's coming to rescue you. But why would they when you have 2 hands, 2 feet, and a heartbeat? And you make all the decisions that you make, but some of them are autopilot and we don't think we are. When you intervene, things change. Because when you have a goal, you know how to say no to certain things. Because I want to be a speaker, I don't hang out with my friends drinking all night. I hardly have any friends, actually, because I don't do the stuff that normal people want to do. But if I didn't have a goal, you're floating over here, you're floating over here. It's like you're doing a dance move, right? So at the end of the day, lock into something or something's going to lock into you. And what that's going to lock into you, they have no plans for you. So you got to take over that planning. Okay, that's the second module. So we're going to dive into action because literally if you had no goals and you had nothing, you could actually just take action and you'll bump your way into success because what doesn't work is going to lead you other ways. A lot of us, we stop though, so we don't move. So action is planting the seed for your future. Just remember, if you want to create tomorrow, it's the actions you do today. So why is action important? Because everything you do today is going to build tomorrow. Honestly, you guys and ladies, if you understood what you have with the time, look, I tell you right now, anything you want is guaranteed. Now, let me give you something to back it up. Who heard of compound interest before? Okay, so compound interest is you invest money. Over time, the money gets big and it's investing the money on the money. Eventually, one day, big money's going on big money. That's the Warren Buffett, that's the people who invested in making big money, but it didn't start that way. I'll give you a way to make it easy to understand and then share you what power you have. If you take 1 penny, and after you could do the math, 1 penny, double that penny every day for 30 days. 1 penny, 2 penny, 4 penny, 8 penny, 16 penny. Just double that for over 30 days. That's over $1 million and change. $1 million and change, 1 penny. But if you look at it today, what is it? 1 penny, tomorrow 2 penny, and 8 penny. So eventually it comes to you. Same as your efforts. Could you believe that the skills you have today is compounded from the things you did that you didn't like? The trial and tribulation you have. So it gets better and better. What does this mean? You do the stuff in life that's hard, life actually doesn't become easier. You do the stuff in life that's easy, well, you skip the steps. You're going to have to still learn the person because the world doesn't care about the money making. The person cares about the character. And only that character could steward that stuff, so build character. So if you want to double your success, triple your failure because you learn from it and you realize that failure, that's your get moving quick scheme. Call it a scheme because someone who turns pain into purpose, whoo, don't give them a rough time. My friends know this. Don't give me pain. I found out some news recently that really, really hit me heavy, but I sparked me up because I felt, okay, I got some new movements. So anyways, we got to consider that because if you don't start now, when are you going to start? When are you going to start? You have that time under your belt. So taking action is planting the seeds. As a matter of fact, it's the soil, it's the water, it's the sunlight. Action is everything. So small actions matter. So let me dive back into my story because I feel like this is where I want to share you the action that I did. I said in the dark times, small steps matter. So this inner city stuff, my job was literally just to finish class. So I just went to class. I went to class and I finished school, okay? Doesn't have to be a big dream, but it led me to my next one because I finished school. I got a little confident. So I went to work. Now, when I lost my job, my brother died. My wife left me. What did this do? Well, when I lost the job, I created my own training material. I'm like, hey, let me just create my own training material, see if I could come up with something. I did that. That was my action. When it came to my goal with my brother dying, I said I wanted to be Coach Mike. So I started a gym routine so I could prove that I have this. Because look, we don't believe in ourselves until we have something we could establish. When you have courage and confidence and then you do the stuff, then you know you can move forward. So some of us can't move forward until we establish some stuff today and belief in ourselves. But once you do, you can move forward. And then my wife, when she left, I realized I didn't even have a voice in the relationship anyway, because sometimes we have people around us where you share information and they don't want to receive it, even if you say it in a nice way. So what do? You climb up. You don't give them advice because you know they're going to come hard on you. Now I told myself after I left, I'm going to be authentic. Who don't like me, don't like me. I don't give a darn, because at the end of the day, I have good intentions. And sometimes people ain't going to like you, period. Okay, so I taught my authenticity. And then when I lost my job again up here, I said, you want me to start my business? Now, here's what I want to share with you guys, how simple life is when you really focus on what you could do. I was broken in this stretch, but I still knew small steps matter. I started a business. I was making 400K, then 300K, and I went to zero, and I started a business, and I said, okay, what's the least I could do? I have to do my gym routine, because that gives me strength. That's the only thing I have is my word. And secondary, for the business, I don't know where to start, but I'm going to call one dealership a day. 10 days, how many dealership is that? 20 days, how many dealership is that? I got callbacks. My training program is one of the most successful ones out there. And I want to share this to you because training in the industry is free. It's free. They pay me a boatload of money per day. Could I see that if I didn't have courage? No, because they didn't pay for training. You got to walk into the dark if you want a light. But it will never, ever, ever fail you. Test it out. You tell me one worst case scenario that you had that come through that didn't build you. Test it out. I tested it out. I did a journal. And that's when it ended up me finding God, to tell you the truth, because I'm like, yo, when I look back, everything you needed to happen happened that was best for you. So don't take my word for it. Look back in your life, right? Our worst case doesn't happen. So key lessons I learned in this: dreams, they stay dreams until you take action. They're dreams until you take action. But with action, they're your future. Just remember that. Every action is a seed for tomorrow. Consistency beats intensity all day, every day. Discipline is water. It feeds your goals. And the future you want is built on what you do today. Just do an inch each day and you'll get there. Let me give you a simple example. Life is actually that simple. I'm telling you. You're going to have hard things happen because they're to build you, but if you look at them different, then you see the growth. Now, check this out. Make it plain and simple. If I wanted to be a stockbroker, and they say you have to read 30 minutes a day for a year, and you'll be a stockbroker. If I woke up, because we get busy days, took Granny to church, I did this, shovel the snow, we were painting the house, I had to do renos. It was a busy day, so it makes sense you couldn't get to your stuff. So you could say to your friends, I didn't get to it, and they say, yeah, it makes sense. Guess what? You did nothing all day. Because your goal, it has to build. So if your goal is to do that and you did all this stuff, yes, you're productive, but you did nothing. It's like the game of hockey. A hockey puck needs to be there. It doesn't win games. It's a prerequisite. Now imagine you just woke up. You made a 30-minute, you read, and you slept the rest of the whole day. You woke up the next day. You didn't even eat breakfast. 30-minute read, you slept. You know you'll be a stockbroker? What does this mean? There's a few things. If you look at your goal, there's a few things you need to do every day. And if you consistently do those, you will get there. But we think, why don't I get your goal? Because you're not doing stuff. Here's proof. Look at your goal right now and look at the 90 days what you did to plug away to it. Again, this is not to condemn you, it's to leave clues. But if you start watering it, what do you think will happen? It will develop. Because something starts scary, you take a step, then it opens another door, and it takes a step and you open another. When you first came to this class, you had some worries, and then you open up the door, and it led to other doors, and open up the doors, and it led to other doors. Some of you might even worked on my unit when I was here last time. Who knows? So just remember that, okay? So here's one thing. You do not have to be great to start, but don't you have to start to be great? Do you think so? Some of us didn't start. So what does this mean? That's a clue. It's a clue. You see how this power you're getting back? It's in what you're doing or not doing. So you got to understand that, because nobody posts perfect on the day. I just started TikTok recently. Look, I'm 46, man. TikTok? Ooh, I thought it was Tic-Tac. I made my first post, second post, third post. Now people are rocking it out, man. Coach Mike Speaks. Coach Mike Speaks, Instagram, TikTok. Maybe you guys should teach me some stuff. I'll definitely be able to learn some stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm not bigger than this stuff. I still got to go into these things and do step by step. So I want to talk to you about this because motivation is something that we wait for. But I tell you, it's a fraud. Motivation doesn't exist. Sometimes it does. It's not going to get you consistent. Kobe Bryant, I use Kobe in these casts because I'm a basketball guy, so I know there's more GOATs. But are you kidding me? Motivation? Not every day. But I tell you one thing, motion, if you do motion, motivation follows it. When I don't want to do my workout routine, tie up my shoes and I say I'm just going to go to the gym to stretch. I end up going there, I'm doing the whole workout routine. How many times when you're stuck, you just move and it creates more movement? So if you ever feel motivated, move real quick. Move real quick before you get trapped up in it. Move, and it builds momentum. I don't want to go to hang out with the friends because whatever, but I have to go, so I go. And I find, okay, this is good. I'm glad I came. Move, 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 move. Stop waiting. There's no such thing as waiting. There's only preparing. There's only preparing. So what are you doing in between? Are you preparing or are you waiting? Because waiting doesn't serve nobody. So you got to start. Okay, motivation will follow. And that's just facts. Now, success, we know this requires action, but depending on how you show up, it says a lot of things. If there's something you have to do, right? And you show up like, oh, I got to do this. Guess what? You think it's a chore. Imagine there's something you have to do and you're like, oh, wow, I get to do this? Discipline is your only way out. It's your only way out of anything. But when we have it, we're like, look what I got to do. Are you kidding me? That's your only way out. That's your trump card. That's your green card. That's your keys. That's your visa. That's your passport. Without that, there's scratch. And this is what I got to do. That's a gift. That's a gift. So be careful when you have something to do. That's your only way out and what you're labeling it at. Be very careful. Action turns someday into success. It unlocks everything. Action turns your dreams into reality. You become what you do, not who you think you are. So you got to remember that. Because again, when you have a task at hand and I got to do this. Look, when I wake up, it's easy for me. When I wake up and I'm tired, I'm like, I get to do my gym routine. I feel hype. I feel like I'm in some movie. I swear, like I built this life where I'm literally, you all have a pen? Do you know you're all writing your own script? Literally. You could write whatever part you want in your movie tomorrow. Literally. You could literally buy a ticket to Hawaii and go. You could write anything. But you know what we're doing? We're giving somebody else the pen. And they're telling us what to write. No. You have the pen. It's still your pen. If you want someone else to have it, great. But it's your pen. You could literally write anything you want. Literally. I'm doing it. Especially after I lock into it, I'm doing it. It's so crazy. It's absolutely insane. It's nothing to do with school. It's nothing to do with smarts. It's nothing. When I left my job, I went to YouTube because I knew what I wanted to be like training. I went to YouTube and it taught me how to do it. And that's why I have this success. Look, I tell you, it's not the knowledge you take from here. It's what you do. And that's it. When you follow your passion, you get delivered. So just remember that because you all have that in you right now. So action builds confidence. So prioritize your actions. We talk about it. There's those 10x tasks. If you want to be a stockbroker, that half an hour a day, whatever your goal is, just figure out what 1 or 2 things you have to do daily. Guess what? You wake up, you knock out those 1 or 2 things. You have a rough day. You pack it in. You're still building towards your goal. You don't ride guilt. You don't ride shame. You don't feel like you wasted a day. It saved my life because when I was weak through those broken times, I just made one dealer call, did my workout, and guess what? I could pack it in all the day without carrying this, I didn't do my task, It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It gives you freedom because we're condemning ourselves. But it doesn't matter if I did nothing else all day, if I got my main things done, right? Just remember that. But a lot of us are doing the fun stuff and forgetting the other stuff. So if you like video games and that, no problem. Here's how you tie it in. It's beautiful. Because I did this, not for video games, but something else. Say this. I'll play the video game after I do my 1 rep. Hoo-wee! Hoo! You be playing games and you still get your future, but you gave yourself a reward at the end, so it's like you make a meaning to why you're doing it. Hoo-wee! Look, let's not get me started, guys. So prioritize your actions. Do what matters the most. None of these easy stuff. Do the hard stuff first and then go about the easy stuff. But remember, it's not so hard. It's a little bit every day. It's consistency, not intensity. The action plan, have a plan, track your progress. I mean, just know where you want to go, right? And last is the feedback loop. Now, you're going to learn from your past. If you look back in your life right now, it left a bunch of clues. And they come in the form of patterns. It shows us what worked well, what didn't work well. And if you look at it, you could adjust and change. But a lot of us don't look back, so the universe slams us. And it's not even hurt. It's to save our life. If you don't have challenges, Look, I don't know if you'll have a life. It's saving your life because it forces you into new territory. It forces you. Just look at it though. Don't look at what I'm saying. Just hear, look what I'm saying and reflect it in your life. So action comes first. Confidence is the receipt after courage. And you got to know that. So rewiring your brain. Discipline is your only way out. We spoke about that. It's your freedom. So when you do a task and you're like, oh, I got to do this, just remember, that's like somebody giving you the key. Now, why can't we just get stuff? If I just gave you your goal, you'd flop and you'd drop. You know why? Because that character wasn't established to be able to hold that. So you'll see wherever you got your goal, build character. So when you hold it, you could hold it. I could hold Coach Mike. I couldn't at the beginning though. I had to develop the character. So imagine you had a child or somebody who kept giving stuff to and they weren't thankful. Why would you want to give them more? You'd like, no, you give them the basic minimums. But if someone's super thankful, you give them, look, we got to be grateful for what we have right now, okay? We got to be grateful. If you're not grateful for what you have, you can't get more, because if you get more, you get entitlement mentality. But if you're thankful, then the universe knows you could handle that and you'll get more. But right now, if I dump money on a lot of you, what your goal is, we'll go broke. We'll spend it lavishly. Look, we'll kill ourselves. We'll kill ourselves slowly. So you don't want that. You want the character, not just the end result. So neuroplasticity, again, action rewires your brain. Confidence follows courage. And consistency creates your future. Reps, 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 reps. When you're done, reps, reps, reps. Guess what happens after each rep? Do you get better or worse? No secret. It's no secret, right? There's no secrets in here, right? So fear, false evidence appearing as real. Now let's get serious. If a lion's in front of you, I'll freak out. But a lot of us have a kitty cat and we think it's a lion. It's lying to you. No pun intended. But look at it. What does it stand for? Hesitation kills more dreams than fear ever will. Fear, what does it stand for? Failure, excuses, accountability, and resistance. Where failure teaches you. Just remember that. It teaches you. If you want to learn, I tell you, you need challenges. Because in good times, good friends, what do they do for you? Smile and wave. The tough people, they allow you to remember that, look, why am I reacting to that? They allow you to train you to be unoffendable, because a lot of us are so reactive. You need those tough people to say, look, keep your energy low. Why are you even grabbing on that? We'll talk about that later. Excuses. Accountability. The choices shape you. Take ownership of it. I'm so crazy. Anything that happens to me, I take ownership of it. Doesn't matter what anybody does, because it's how I receive it. It's how I see it. It's how I see it. People don't do stuff to you. They do them. And a lot of people are running a little squirrely, but they do them. You don't have to take that energy. But sometimes we want to win, right? So again, you got to ask yourself these questions at the bottom, because at the end of the day, excuses. Excuses. Pick the excuse or pick the dream. And some of us, our excuses are bigger than our dreams. That's why you need a purpose. You need a why, honestly. My brother didn't die. I wouldn't have a why, guys. Sounds sad, but look at all of us, the reason why we're doing what we do, because we saw hardship. We saw our family do this. We saw this. I never had a dad in my life. I didn't want to be like him, so that made me do this. It's pain. So just remember that. Good times don't make nothing. A person who's a winner is a person who failed many times and kept going. So a winner's not just a winner. So when you have failure creep up, remember what I talk about. It's about motion. Move. Remember? If you're stuck, you don't feel motivated, action comes first. Motivation is after you move. So what does this mean? When you have fear creep in, move. Mindset. What's your mindset? Replace I can't with I could learn. Ownership. Your choices shape you. Own how you see it, because it gives you feedback and you can move on. But if you keep dwelling on the past, you can never let it go. Imagine someone does you wrong, okay? And they're gone. Now, you'll never fix it. You'll have this wound. Like every time you see them, it's like, oh God, oh, get out of my face. But the moment you say, hey, look, why did I even give that any energy? That person's a clown. Let it go. Boom, you have your power. You can move. You can move. Some of us are cutting ourselves right from the feet. Vision. Keep your vision alive. Picture what you want. So let's talk about trusting the process. That's the last one. And you know, can we show up is the question. Well, I'll tell you how much we could show up. It might be embarrassing. If we have say you had a fish, a goldfish, and the goldfish, you went by the tank, it's like, you saw a few bubbles too many, and you took in the bowl, you brought it to the vet, and the vet says, oh, that fish, oh, he has fish soup. I don't know what that is. But you have to feed the fish this medication every 3 hours. Now, you go to school and stuff. Are you going to find a way to feed the fish that medication? You damn right you are. If you got to leave class early and run, you'll find a way. Guess what? When it comes to ourselves and we have to do something tomorrow, we don't do it. We'll do it for everybody else, but not ourselves, and we're expecting why we're not growing. You got to feed yourself first. You're more worth than a fish, right? Think about it for a sec. We're showing up for everybody but ourselves. That's why the baby's growing. That's why the fish is growing, right? It may sound a little fishy, but I didn't mean it to. Anyway, last one, trust the process. Because at the end of the day, all the fingers point back to you. All of the fingers point back to you. And if it doesn't, you got to be concerned of who you're giving power to, because if they have power, you can't change nothing. All the fingers point back to you. Growth mindset, resilience, insight, and trust. We all have the ability to do this. This is what the goats do. So let's talk about growth mindset. Okay? Growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Fixed mindset says, this is how I was born. I can't change. This is my skill set. There's nothing for me. You can't grow under that. A growth mindset says, I believe I could change. I believe I could grow. Through time and effort, I could be who I want to be. I'm not there now, no, but being there, well, it's the same. If I want to be a mechanic, I go to school, finish up, and I'm there. I just got to do the work like everything else, right? So look at the stuff that each person would say. Fixed mindset avoids challenges. They see feedback as criticism. Some people, you give them feedback, even in a good place, they think you're trying to knock them down because they don't want to change. But look at those people who are positive. You give them feedback, thanks. No, I didn't see that angle. No, I appreciate it. Even if your feedback's bad, they know what to take from it, and they're not going to cuss you out because they see where you're coming from. They're inspired by others' success. They don't see people's success and get jelly. You know? So at the end of the day, we got to remember, what mindset are we carrying, okay? The next piece is resilience. We ask, how many people said they're resilient? It comes at a price. Character comes at a price. It ain't cheap. Ain't cheap. So what challenges made you stronger? And why is resilience important? Every single goal you have is going to come with friction. Everything you have is going to come with friction. You got to weather the storm. Now, this is one of the most beautiful slides. And this is where I had to go through it all to give you guys this slide. This is my favorite slide, and this slide saved my life. I'll tell you what I mean. You see all these colored glasses? Red, blue, indigo, purple, green, all the different colors. Imagine you're wearing just orange glasses with an orange tinge. Everything you look at, what color tinge is it going to have a little bit of? Okay. This is our life. Coop, coop, coop. You don't expect to see straight. You're not going to see straight. Here's what you could do, though. When you're in a situation, take off that lens. Put on the gratitude lens. Do you know you could actually offer yourself a different viewpoint right on the spot, and you could see it right on the spot? These lenses are going to save your life, because what you see isn't true. It's based on what you see. It's like we're projectors. But if you take that new lens, when I have to go to workout routine and I'm tired and I wake up, I say this, at least I woke up. Yeah, someone says that's corny. You know someone's getting in the hospital right now? It's their last day. You know somebody is fighting in a war right now and they're scared bullets are going to drop. They can't sleep. Again, remember I said, put all our problems in the middle, grab equal share. We'll come with more than we came with. So we got to be careful of what we're talking about. Because when you look through the lens of gratitude, you see what's building you. And there's no more for someone who can't be thankful for what they have. Because you're living in dreams. I say pause right now again. Think about it. You're living in dreams you had. You have to give grace. So instead of focusing on what's not working, focus on what's working. I could have a big circle here and one dot, and I'll say, what do you see? One dot. No, look at the big circle. Your life is great. Don't look at the 1, 2 things. The life is great, right? Another one, awareness. This is one of the beautiful lenses. Take off the yellow lens and put it on. And this one allows you to look at your patterns, and you notice that, like you mentioned, your name? Emily. Like you mentioned, when you put on that pattern lens, you'll see the patterns of today, it's not the patterns of there. So, because I could see it, I could adjust it. Now I'm back on track. But if we're just wearing the orange lens, we can't do that, our regular lens. And this one I absolutely love. Life is a boot camp. There's no tough people around you. They're the ones you want to say high five. The tough challenges, look, say thank you. Because I noticed I want to be the #1 Canadian speaker in the world. I have, for youth, I have a person in my life who's so rough that her logic throws me off. It's not personal because there's no story, there's lessons. People don't do you rough. I tell you right now. Because when I look at where I want to be, she's teaching me how to be unoffendable. I'm grabbing onto the nonsense. So I'm able to change my character and love her for who she is, because where I go, someone can't call out my name and I go crazy. Training me. They're training you. They're training you because some of the way we react, it's not good. So use those folks as your growth measure. And if you're going to screw up a few times, but you got to know where you got to go. Some of the attitudes we carry can't go there. So life is a boot camp. And your hard moments, think of it a game as video game. They're the only times you level up. It's the hard moments. Wish on them. Wish on them. You'll never get something harder than you can handle. Okay? So trust the process. Growth happens. The last thing to come from the tree is the apple. The baby has to fall before it walks. Look at this. Look, when a leaf falls off a tree in the fall, you're not crying because you know it's coming back. You know this part of the process. You're not falling either. There's seasons that you're going to build. There's seasons that you're going to be broken so you can rebuild. And when you think of a garden, you got to uproot it before you plant new seeds. No? So is that a bad thing? No, uproot. So when you get uprooted, what seeds is here? What seeds is here? What seeds is here? And just remember it though, you got to leave that comfort zone. It's courage before confidence. Okay, 2 more slides, I believe, and we're packing it up. Now, throughout all of this, I'm still going to be real with you. Life ain't easy. It's tough. Because how you process it is tough on us. It's tough. Give yourself some grace. You're going to miss the mark. Give yourself some grace. It doesn't matter what you did yesterday. It's what could I do today? Yesterday's gone. A lot of us are living the yesterday. Look, you can't hold on to your yesterday's frustration and tomorrow. Something's got to drop. Drop it. It's there to teach you. It's learning. It's information. Give yourself some grace. If we treated people the way we treated ourselves, we'd be locked up. We'd be locked up. All of us jailed up, including myself. So give yourself some grace. Progress takes time. So I just want to remind you of one thing. Greatness starts within you, not outside of you. It's an inside job. It's an inside job. So if you want to be a GOAT, get to know yourself, own your goal, act on it, and trust the process. Because your mindset is the greatest tool you have, and the consistent action that you have is what's going to get you where you want to be. So be your own GOAT. Now, Henry Ford says it best. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Okay? And Winston Churchill, success isn't final, failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue. Thank you very much for your time, everyone. Anyone who wants to follow me or get some wise wisdom, you could follow me on this Coach Mike Speaks, also CoachMike.com. But honestly, it's a great honor to be here. I feel like you guys did me a favor because I made a goal, and if you guys aren't here, I can do it. But I tell you right now, it's courage first. So I thank you so much, and we'll play the videos after. Thank you. Okay? Thank you.